Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Kicking It with the K Train, where we talk with people who have helped me keep an eye on my vision. Um, man, it feels like I go way back with this dude because we have shared quite a few experiences, some real fun times, done some really epic adventures together. Um, so, but I just want to jump right in and introduce my very good friend and buddy, Trinity Terry. Um, Trinity, man, we've known each other what now, 6 or 7, going on almost 7 years, and man,
Yeah,
it's been a time, man. So first and foremost, thanks for coming on the show, and how's it going?
it's going well, brother. We I'm in full dad mode these days, just chasing the boy around.
Yep.
Um, yeah, he's a busy one, so he keeps me running these days. But yeah,
For sure.
yeah, we're having a lot of fun, man. I love it. So
That's awesome. That's awesome.
yeah,
So I want to go ahead and just kind of dive in, because you didn't really have a background in running or endurance sport. If people follow us on social media, they know that's how we met. We met through running and doing marathons and stuff. But like before we get to that part of the story, I kind of want to go back to your humble beginnings. So can you kind of tell us what your life was like a little bit growing up, where you grew up, what you kind of did and how you came to Colorado?
yeah, absolutely. So I grew up in the Midwest. Go Big Red. I'm a Husker fanatic. Anybody that knows me knows that. I
Oh
try to
yeah.
I try to get that in any conversation. So yeah, I grew up in Nebraska, and honestly, I loved sports always. I
Hmm.
was always like, man, I remember as a kid, This was before, like, I'm gonna date myself a little bit here, but this was before, like, the internet was widespread and stuff. So I
Yep.
would I would keep notebooks, and I still have them, funny
Yep.
enough, of like Nebraska games and the stats, like the
Yep.
running back yards per game and average, like super nerdy with sport. Like I just always loved them. And then, I would say I was a natural athlete. Like I said, I loved sports. Um, and I was mostly wrestling, boxing, and more contact
Hmm.
sports growing up. Um, but I didn't, looking back now as an adult, that's probably my one regret, that I didn't um, fuel that passion for sports back then.
Hmm.
The way that I was able to do it as an adult. That again, there was always, people were always like, you have so much potential, you should just dedicate yourself to the sport. And again, I was dedicated, but it wasn't my life.
Right.
So growing up, um, again, it was wrestling and boxing, and I love those.
Hmm.
And then shortly after high school, I um, ended up giving my life to the Lord and
Hmm.
going to Bible college in Florida. Um, and as you know, anything that I do, like, I'm all in. Like,
Oh yeah.
it's like it's part of the way I'm wired. So when I gave my life to the Lord, I went to Bible college, and my dream at that point was, I wanted to be a missionary. Like, Lord,
Hmm.
send me to the jungles, like
Yep.
the poorest of the poor, the farthest away. Like, that's what I wanted to do.
Yep.
And that never happened. And I ended up, after college, moving out to Steamboat Springs for a short time with some of my friends from college, and just fell in love with the mountains and the mountain life. And I was only there a short time, but it just found this place in my heart. Like, I knew that, like, I was supposed to be in the mountains.
Oh yeah.
Um, I ended up leaving there and going back to the Midwest. And as I was passing through my hometown, I made a phone call to Tracy, who's now my wife. And, you know, we were friends all through high school, and I called her up and I was like, hey, you know, and we started dating from that point on. That was 20 years ago. And we dated for less than a year, ended up getting married in February of 2004. So we're going to be celebrating 19 years, bro, of marriage. Yeah. How am I that old? But
still young, bro. Still young.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And so we got married in February of 2004, and I was kind of like, well, I better start doing some adult things now. I think I was 21 at the time. And I had a friend. I really didn't know what I wanted to do for a career at that point. But I had a friend who was a lineman, and he was like, you should check this out. And so I started doing the research, and I was like, man, like this like fits my personality. Like there's the elements of like risk and danger, and you're climbing poles and working with crazy high voltage, you know? So that just like, I was like, man, I think I could get behind this. And you know, then I realized that you could make a pretty decent living at it. So I was like, I'm in. So I ended up going through a lineman apprenticeship there in Iowa. And spent 10 years. We spent the first 10 years of our marriage in Iowa. I was a contractor there. And eventually towards the end of my time there in Iowa, I just started having this like desire to be back in the mountains, you know? And like I said, when I left Steamboat, it was like, if I ever get the opportunity to go back to the mountains, man, that's where I want to be. And so this job opened up in Aspen, and I sent in my resume, and it moved really quickly. We ended up basically selling everything we had, finding renters for our house, and we moved out here in just like weeks time from when I sent in my resume. So it happened really fast. That was May of 2014. And so this will kind of bridge like how I got into running. You get out to Colorado, into the mountains, and you realize that like you're pretty lazy in the Midwest, and you start seeing all these people in Colorado, and they're just crazy athletes. And it just stoked that fire in me to you know, to get back into some stuff. And so I jumped in, and you know, I was trying to find my lane when I first got out here in 2014. I was hiking and mountain biking, and you know, all of that and all of the Colorado things. And I remember, Kyle, like shortly after we got here, I was hiking up the Ute, the face of Ajax, and feeling pretty good. I was like in decent shape, and here comes this old lady in blue jeans, and she blows by me. And so and I'm like, these people in Aspen are a different breed.
That they are,
you know. And it was funny. I still remember, I was in awe of this lady, and we got to talking for a minute, and she's like, you know, I told her I was new here, and she's like, basically pick your lane, because like you can't, like, you just focus, find something that you love, and go after it. Because again, I was trying all these different things, and so that's when I kind of was like, I loved hiking and getting in the backcountry, and I loved just getting out there and seeing all the like just the vastness of the mountains. And that was kind of my lead into trail running, because I simply wanted to like see more. That was basically my reasoning to getting into trail running. And then, you know, I signed up for an Xterra within my first year being here. And realized that like I don't know how to swim. So I got a coach. and spent some time with the coach, and she taught me how to make it through.
Yep.
And dude, I haven't swam since.
Yeah.
Since.
Yep.
That was 2014. It was actually terrifying for me in that open lake. So I don't know how you guys do it, but so we get, yeah. So I was like, that's not my gig. But I really love running and trail running. And, I ended up running my first like race was the Aspen Backcountry Half.
Yep.
And I don't know if you've done that or been on that course, as you know, Kyle, that it's incredible. Like it's like,
oh yeah,
to me, it's one of the most amazing trails in the world. I just love it.
Oh yeah.
And so I ran that, and of course I didn't know how to train for it. I was winging it, but I ended up doing pretty well. I think I finished first in my age group, and the 30s age group at that time, and I was like, like I might be okay at this.
Yeah.
So that was, I believe, 2016, the summer of 2016, and so after that race, and I realized that like not only do I love doing it, like I'm decent at it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm gonna find a coach and actually train for some running. And so I think I met you a few months after that. So like a half marathon was as far as I've ever gone when you and I met.
Yep.
So yeah. And then it was game on after that.
It was. So like, do you like I mean, I moved to the Aspen Valley, the Roaring Fork Valley in, late October, early November of 2016. And like, I just started joining a bunch of, Facebook groups essentially, in the Valley. And I think I posted something about, I was just, looking for some people to run with. And you were one of the people that responded. So like, that's how I remember meeting. But like, what you kind of walk people through our first handful of, meetings and running experiences, and then kind of like, the very early days of our friendship.
All right. Yeah. So we met, like say, I think I saw, it was a Facebook post in some running chat or something, I think. And I was like, right on, like I'll guide, I had, I had no idea what I was getting into, but it was like the most natural thing in the world, to do. Like, and so our first meetup, we met down, on the Rio.
Yep.
And I think we ran an 8 or 9 miler. And dude, it was like again, it was meeting you, like your friendship. It was like from day one, it was like the most natural friendship in the world. It was, some people you meet and it was like, you're grabbing gears, trying to like be friends. Like for us, I feel like it was from day one, it was just there.
Oh yeah.
And even strapping a rope to another guy and running, like it was all very natural, dude. I don't know how, but it was.
I don't know how we did it, man, but like we just rolled right into it. So
we did. Yeah. And then, we met, your mom dropped you off there.
Yep.
And it was like we high-fived and me and you took off, and then we met back up with your mom afterwards. And I think we went out to coffee and kind of met your mom a little bit at that point. And I was like, this is an awesome family. And so yeah, that was kind of our initial meetup. And
and then like, and here, like, here's kind of a proof that you're just kind of really just up for anything, and you're just, honestly, dude, you're a little crazy, because so I was building up, I was I was gonna try. My goal was to qualify for the Boston Marathon. I was getting ready to run at the California International Marathon in December, and so like I told you this, and so yeah, you were totally game for doing some running and some training with me, helping me get ready for that. And then the guy who was going to guide me, you know, got injured and or was sick or something, and just was not able to make that trip. And so like I remember talking to you about it, and I'm like, dude, like I know this is like real last minute. I don't know if I'm gonna find someone to you know run the first half or the second half of the marathon with me, or even the whole one with me. Would you be up for coming to California and running with me, for whether it be for half or the whole thing? And I think I remember you just saying, well, yeah, because I'm going to be there already, because I already bought a plane ticket to come watch you.
I did. I had, we built a little bit of a friendship,
Yep.
and I was like, you're going out there I wanted to go out there and support you. So yeah, I'd already bought my ticket. I was going to watch you, man. And
Yep.
then, so when you asked me to guide you, I think initially it was just for half of it.
It
And I
was.
was
Yep.
like, absolutely. Yeah, I can do that. And then you're like,
Yeah.
actually, I'm going to need you to run the whole thing with me. And the funny part about that, Cal, is as I said, I'd gotten a coach probably a month before that,
Yep.
because I wanted to go all in and start training hard.
Yeah.
Well, I was still very early on, and like
Oh
again, I
yeah.
hadn't run like more than a half marathon, and so I remember talking to my coach and telling him, "Well, plans have changed a little bit. I'm actually going to go run a marathon next week." And he was like, it was Carl Meltzer, and this
Yep.
guy, he's 100 miles is not that far for him,
Yeah.
but even he was just kind of like, okay, well, good luck.
Yeah.
And,
It was pretty much like, good luck
yeah.
if you survive.
And we did, man. I just to walk you through that kind of my mindset and my experience there. It was a blast, dude. I again, I hadn't formally trained or anything. I didn't know anything about fueling your body.
Yep.
We just went out there and I did it.
Yeah.
And I don't know how, but it was like off the couch. Here I go running a marathon.
Yep.
And man, it was so much fun, and I just enjoyed that fellowship with you. And
Yeah.
dude, you don't get to know someone more intimately than running 26 miles
Oh yeah.
side by side with someone. And so you go through the pain cave together.
Yep.
You're laughing together. You're mad at each other. Like you go through
Yeah.
all this stuff.
Oh
And,
yeah.
man, it was an awesome experience. And you got your Boston qualifier, so
I did. Yeah.
awesome.
So like what are some of the standout memories from I mean, CIM was our first marathon together. Like what are some of your standout memories from that weekend? Because we had a blast of a weekend.
We did. It was a lot of fun. We Kelsey was there, and
Yep.
yeah, and we met up with some other friends that were from a different running group that I'd met, and
Yep.
dude, it was a great time. I remember a few times thinking that I was going to get sick, didn't know if I was going to be able to keep running, but I was like,
Yep.
no way, I'm letting this dude down. So like, I had to dig, and we did it. So
Yeah, we did. So we we nab we get my Boston qualifying time, and it turns out that I'm gonna I can enter into the Boston Marathon for 2017. So this is 4 months away. So I'm kind of a lazy dude, and so I was like, well, this guy just dragged me through 26.2 miles, and I'm kind of too lazy to go out and find anyone else to run with. So Hey TT, you want to run the Boston Marathon with me?
I'm in. I am in.
Yeah, and so I think even Carl was a little like, what? Wait, I thought we were like training for trail running. Now you're wanting me to
Yeah.
shift to like teach y'all how to like run marathons and shit like that.
Yeah.
So, but man, man, like training, for us, we're living in the heart of the Colorado Rockies, and I remember, um, dude, I remember this one morning. I think we had like a 15-mile run or something scheduled for that day, and I wake up, I check the weather, because the weather in like, because we were planning on running up in Aspen. I think that it was like the first or second time you were going to take me up, running Red Mountain or something like that. And I checked the weather, and the high that day is like, 0 degrees or maybe 2 degrees, and like, we've had like 8 or 12 inches of snow fall overnight, and bro, I don't know if this run is going to happen. And you're like, get your butt out of bed and get up here.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, because by that time, after California, and I started started training, and so Carl had me on um, this plan. So by the time it was ready for you to train for Boston, I was like I said, like whatever I do, I'm all in.
Yep.
So by that time, I was like, it was on no matter what.
Yeah.
And we were grinding. There was
Oh
some
yeah.
definitely tough days for sure, but
Oh yeah. There were some tough days. We did some 20 milers together and all that stuff. But then, we grind through the winter, the early mud season of Colorado, and then we drive down to Denver, hop on a plane, fly to Boston. And why don't you like you tell the story and walk us through our Boston Marathon weekend? Because I mean, we thought California was fun and a good time, but yeah,
oh
just walk Boston experience, man.
yeah. So when we got to Boston, man, I was like, it was just larger than life.
Yep.
And not coming from a running background. I had friends that were going like, they're like, dude, you've been running like 6 months and you already get to run the Boston Marathon. People wait their whole life and don't ever get in.
Yep.
And so before we got there, I didn't realize the magnitude of how awesome it was.
Yeah.
And but when we got there, and it was just like, wow, what an amazing opportunity that we have. And
Hmm.
um, yeah, and then as we ran um, the, the race itself, I mean, my jaw was on the floor the whole time, just seeing the people like cheering you on, and like
Yep.
um, I remember that I saw like people holding signs, Boston Strong, and
Yep.
um, it was like, it was powerful.
Yeah.
And then we got to what do they call it, Heartbreak Hill,
Yep.
and that's where they're handing out beers there, and
Yep.
like I could not wait to crack one of them bad boys, and so
Oh yeah.
I drank a beer at Heartbreak Hill, and I think I tried to get you to drink it, and you weren't having any of it.
I think I took like a sip or something like that, but like you're like you were a little bit more proficient at chugging a beer and running at the same time that I was. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so
I was, oh man, I still laugh at that.
and it was so much fun. Again, it was a really powerful experience for me, and the whole time I'm like, like I want to do this again, and be back here and qualify myself. And
Yep.
so that was kind of like the internal thing going on. Like, this is
Yeah.
amazing, and I want to give some focus and attention to training and qualifying myself as well.
Yep. Yep.
And so we finished the race, and dude, it was amazing. I remember that last stretch. You had a goal of a certain time. I don't remember what it was, but we were so close, and we were both in the pain cave, and
Oh
I
yeah.
just remember like, let's floor it, Kyle.
Yep.
Let's floor it. I think you might have called me a name or two, but we floored it, and we made your time.
We
So
squeaked under it. We
it
squeaked
was
under it.
it was fun. Yeah, it was just a
Oh,
great weekend. But that's the thing about running. You get into it, and then you have these experiences, and you meet these people who
mhm.
it's a culture that, like, it's hard to find other places, honestly. I have a handful at least of lifetime friends, like
Yeah.
legit, like heart connection, lifelong friends, that I've met through running, and obviously you are one of them.
Yep.
But it's just a different culture, and I love it.
It really is. So, I mean, bro, I mean, like, we run the Boston Marathon together, and then you go on just an absolute tear after that. Like, you went and, like, I mean, you took off, and like, you were running darn near, you know, I think, didn't you run the Aspen Valley Marathon that year, and like nearly, nearly nearly won that race, nearly won that race, or I think you were like top 5 or something, crazy like that, nearly broke 3 hours at that race. And then you went on, and you just started just tearing up the trail scene, as well. So, like, talk us through a few of those epic little adventures that you went on, after we ran Boston.
Okay, yeah. So after Boston, again, that just fueled me. I was like, this is amazing. So, like, I then I put a goal, like, I want to run 100 miler, and so, like, I
Yeah.
had all these things. Again, I was trying to find my lane. I won.
Yeah.
Was it 100? Was it the 100 mile race? Was it the road marathon? Was it the half trail? So I spent that next year just doing all of it. I started training for 100 miler, and ran the Grand Traverse,
Yep.
and that was amazing. But I realized, like, those ultra long distances, they're fun,
Yep.
but I don't have your typical runner build. Like, I'm a
No.
205, 205-pound guy, at my natural weight. So, like, that's kind of a strange build for any type of run. But yeah, I was just trying to find my lane. Where am I the best?
Yep.
And so you're right. I started, in that time, I realized that, like, road marathons I can cook, and half trails I can cook.
Yep.
And so my goal in the road marathon was, to qualify for Boston. And then I realized, when I ran my first one, on my own, that, like, I don't remember. I was trying to qualify for Boston in my first marathon, and I was just within a couple minutes.
Yep.
And so I was like, okay, like, this is one of my sweet spots. I can run the road marathon. And so then I started doing a lot of speed workouts, and it was wild. I actually surprised myself. I was getting after it, and I don't remember how many marathons I ran in that like 2-year stretch.
It was a few.
But I got, yeah,
It was a few.
yeah, it was. And I was mixing half trails in there too.
Yep.
That was my two loves: half
Yep.
trail races and road marathons. And so I got to the point where I was running, the last one I did was, it was a cold morning, and so I'm like, that's where I thrive. Is like, as a big guy, like, cold is good. heat
Yep.
is really bad
Oh
is
yeah.
kryptonite. So I found some cold weather marathons and cooked in them. And um, the last one I did, I was running 6:30 splits
Yep.
for the first, I think, 19, 20 miles.
Yep.
And then the sun came out, and the wheels kind of fell off, and I slowed down quite a bit, but I still made, I was set to finish at like 250.
Yeah.
I was on pace to do that. And then again, the sun came out, and that was my kryptonite. I slowed down. I think I finished around 303, something like that, but I qualified for Boston. And
Yep.
that was my primary goal. My secondary goal was to break 3, which I did not
Yeah.
do. But yeah, it was a lot of fun.
And you
So-
kind of unfortunately fell into the you fell into the year where you qualified for Boston, and then the pandemic hit, and so it was so like after you actually qualified for Boston, I don't think did you ever go back and did you ever run Boston? I can't remember.
No. So I don't remember exactly how it went, but the first year was COVID year, and it was just really weird.
Yeah.
And so they deferred me till the next year, and I wasn't able to make it. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, I never ran Boston again. But yeah, and then after that, I kind of shifted gears, and it was like I'd met all my goals, like done everything that I wanted to do. All the goals that I'd set out for myself. And
Yep.
so I kind of dropped a gear and started just like recreational running. I didn't put any races on the calendar, and
Yep.
Ended up me and a handful of friends, we scheduled a bucket list trip to the Trail Mont Blanc.
Yep.
And so then I just kind of focused on like not racing, but just like running the Trail Mont Blanc and not dying. And so that was the end of 2019. We went over there and ran that too.
Yep.
And oh my goodness, it was amazing.
Yeah. Tell us about that. Tell us about that experience. Cause that really is a bucket list, trip for a lot of people, whether you race the, UTMB, the actual race itself, or just do the trail. Like, I mean, you went and like, you just ran the trail in the mountains and stuff. So like, tell us about that experience. Like, talk us through that, because I think you ran it for like 4 or 5, 6 days or something like that.
Yeah. So, again, I feel so fortunate because like the things that I've been able to do in just the short window of time, that I've given to running is just so awesome. But yeah, it was a bucket list trip, and we're just like, we're doing it. Let's go.
Yeah.
And, so we went over there, and, it was me and, 2 other buddies, and, we planned it out to where we would run 20 to 30 miles a day, and then we would camp in a village or stay in some kind of hostel or something. And so we would get up early in the morning, and again, we'd run 20, 30 miles and just do the most ridiculous scenery ever.
Yeah.
And we'd get to a village, that afternoon, and camp out, have beers, eat a nice meal,
Yep.
and then go to bed, wake up the next day, do it all again. I think we did it in 3 or 4 days. I don't remember how we split it up,
Yep.
but it was perfect. Whatever we did, it was like, it wasn't too much. It was like the perfect amount. You ran in the mornings, and then you like drank beer and like checked out the village that night. So it was an amazing runcation, man. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
That's awesome. And so like, these days, I mean, you're running a little bit, but I think it's more, I mean, you are, you are a family first guy. Your family, as comes, before yourself always. And so like you said at the very beginning of this episode, you like the most of the running you do now is chasing your son around. Because so why don't you tell us kind of, go ahead and brag on the G a little bit, because
Oh,
he's
dude, there's
tell us
nothing
what
I
he's
love
up to.
more than dad bragging, man. I will dad brag your ear off. But yeah, like we, I'm still running. It's it's not consistent. I still love
Yeah,
getting out there.
sure.
Um, but now it's like 3 to 5 miles at a shot, and
Yeah,
I'm not training for anything, just trying to not be chubby.
yeah,
That's basically my motivating factor now. If I'm starting
yeah,
to feel chubby, I get out there and run 4 or 5 miles, and
yeah. That's all I need.
yeah, and get a little jump start. So yeah, I still love running and get out there once in a while. And I'll go through spurts where I'll run for a few months, super consistent, and then I might take a month or two
Yep.
off, and so it's very very sporadic these days. But I like I said, most of my running is chasing my boy around. He's taking up lacrosse, and man, I wish that I would have known about that sport when I was a kid, because it is so fun. It's a contact sport. Like
Yep.
it's like fast paced. Like it's really really fun to watch. And Gavin, he's really excelling in it, and he's a freshman right now, and he's getting a lot of opportunities and looks. He actually was invited to play on a national team, and so we're going to be doing that this summer. And so we do a lot of traveling with that. We go to California this summer.
Yep.
We'll be going to California, East Coast, Utah.
Yep.
So yeah, we do a lot of traveling with lacrosse, and it's a lot of fun.
That's awesome, man. So awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And dude, like I just always love catching up with you. I mean, your fan, the Terrys have, definitely become part of, of my family. I mean, we've shared a handful of Thanksgiving dinners together, shared a lot of beers together. We've run a lot of miles together. But number one, first and foremost, always, you're always my brother first and foremost, whether we're running or just chatting over the phone or Zoom or whatever it may be. And I just gotta say, thank you so much for saying heck yeah, let's go for a run together back in 2016, man. And I appreciate it so much.
Yeah, absolutely. And I appreciate your friendship. Gavin, that's one of his highlights. When we go, there's a few years in a row there that we had Thanksgiving together with your family, and man,
yep.
And then a couple times that we haven't, it's like it torques him off. He's like, why aren't we at the Coons? We need to be Thanksgivings with the Coons. So yeah,
we're gonna make it happen
family,
again.
Yeah, your whole family is just so special to us, to the Terrys, and we just love you guys all so much.
Well, thank you so much, man.
Yeah,
thank you so much. Oh man, well, we're gonna go and wrap it up, but man, as always, just thank you. Man, you have you've really helped me out a lot, both personally, professionally, spiritually, all of that stuff, man. So you are, like I said before, you're my brother, and you know that anytime you can give me a call, and I know the same goes, like anytime I need something, TT's on speed dial. So
you got it, dude. You got it. I did want to say one last thing. I failed to mention all of the times that I may have left you at like a crosswalk or something in California. Details. Kind of our running joke is I forget that you're blind 95% of the time. So like that was always a struggle. But yeah, dude, you make it easy for people to forget you're blind because you're so amazing, dude. And I'm so proud of you that you've never let anything hold you back. And for the example that you have been to Gavin, I know that he certainly looks up to you and believes on a whole another realm of like what's possible because of you. So I appreciate that about you, brother.
Oh, thank you so much, man. I really, really appreciate it. And you can lead me into the middle of a crosswalk anytime. So
all right, dude.
All right, bro. I love you. Thanks so much for coming on. And hey, everyone, like seriously, like TT is amazing, and I think you all can just tell through all of these all these talks and interviews and stuff that I've been doing, I really am really, really lucky and fortunate to be surrounded by so many amazing people. And I hope that these podcasts are helping every single one of you keep an eye on your vision. As you can tell, TT has definitely helped me keep an eye on my vision, and we just keep on keeping on, and keep the vision alive and keep on trucking. So everyone, thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you very soon. So as always, keep an eye on your vision.